Good morning, Grace Tribe. I hope you have a cup of coffee and have gotten up and going adequately this morning. It was a tough morning for me getting up. Good morning, Sarah. We're seeing all of the folks on the Facebook side. Join all the folks that were already chatting on the YouTube side. Corey, good to see you. Rob, good to see you. Sarah, wonderful for you to be here. Rob Phelps, glad you could join in. Corey, great to see you. Crystal, good morning, my friend. It is wonderful to see Alan. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Just great to see all of you join in today. You know, I want to talk a little bit about uh, the power of today. Good morning, Donna. Great to see you. Working both sides, Rob says. So we've got sound and we've got video. So I know sometimes my microphone setup runs a little soft. So turn it up if you need to. Want to welcome you all. Howdy, Grace Tribe. We are the tribe of God's grace walking folks on the earth. We're not a subgroup. There's nothing to join. There's no exclusivity. It'd be like me saying, hey there, Grace Group. Hey there, saints of God. Hey there, children of Abba, our Father. Hello, tribe of grace. Scripture says we are one people with one Lord and one Spirit, one purpose. And that's what we're trying to highlight, that we are a holy nation, not just you and me and the handful of people that join us on this every single day, but that we're actually part of something global, this group of people that are growing up as the children of God, our union with Him causing union together, that we belong to one another. And so I love that phrase, just because I think it does make us think twice. We say church, hello church, and everybody thinks, well, he means that church that he leads, or that group that he leads, and he thinks that's his church. Or it's no, that's not the case, right? There's only one church, one ecclesia called out from the world to serve and live from the indwelling life of Christ. And so I'm just trying to put a fine point on that global uniqueness, if that makes sense, that we belong to one another. So good morning, Crystal. Sarah, we are praying for you. Thank you so much. Kat, good to see you this morning. Claudia, great to see you. Mitzi, can't believe you're actually here while we're live. I'm so glad you are. Thank you for joining us this morning. Listen, I want to talk today about the power of today. I didn't know how to do the quotes on our title today. Do you say the power of quote today? Do you say the power of mini quote today, close quote, big quote? I wanted to really highlight the power of quote today, unquote. But then I have the title in quote, so we get too much punctuation. Globally unique, Rob is saying. Yeah, sometimes what comes out of my mouth. We're called out from the rest of the world to live as citizens of a foreign land on pilgrimage with God, not just for Him, but with Him today. So here's the deal. I know that you know that today is God's day. Often the scripture that's quoted is, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us be glad and rejoice in it. But honestly, that is tough. We don't feel like doing that a lot of the times. There's stuff that we have to deal with. Worldly, circumstantial, heart-wrenching, body warping stuff. Sometimes lately I feel like that scene in y'all remember the movie Monsters Inc? It was an animated film, and in the it was a Pixar movie, and in the movie they're so terrified of the other world. Isn't that interesting? There's this world. There's the monster side, and then there's the human side. And they're so scared of the other world that someone saw on one of the monsters' back a kid's sock. They're going through the doors and scaring the kids, and that builds energy for their world. And so anyway, he came back through one of the doors to the monster side, and there was a kid's sock on his back or something like that. And someone else saw it, and sock! And they tackled him, and hazmat suits monsters came and, tied him up and shaved him down to nothing and quarantined him. And do you remember that they totally isolated and segregated this guy because he had a kid's sock on his back, like we're all gonna die. If you sneeze today, you're gonna be like Monsters Inc. Like if you are on a bus and you sneeze, they may, the hazmat suits may tackle you and quarantine you and, rope you off in one corner, shave you down to nothing, hose you down with some chemical. Like you've got to be careful saying what I'm about to say. And that is that I had a rough night. I do not feel great this morning and I'm fine, but didn't feel great. And so because of my some back problems that I have, as some of y'all are aware, those two things added together, I was just uncomfortable and aching and couldn't rest very well. And so I got it this morning with a headache and a backache and, a crick in my neck and, couldn't lay on one side because of my back last night. It was just an uncomfortable, long night and didn't feel very good. But please don't send the hazmat suit guys. I'm fine. So I'm not feeling great this morning to a large degree just because I didn't sleep and rest very well last night. And I know many of you can relate to that and have much more harsh things that you're managing. But it occurs to me that today has all kinds of stuff. And if we're going to rejoice in this day that the Lord has made, if we're going to be glad in it because he's in it with us, it's going to be despite some of the things that we have to deal with today, that I don't feel good, but I still get to choose how I respond to how I feel and what's going on around me. It doesn't negate the option that I have to enjoy God and his creation and enjoy him loving me and choose to walk in intimacy. But I got to tell you, it took me a minute. I had to bounce for a minute and get back to that place of thinking rightly, just for the interactions that I have with my wife in the morning. I don't want to be reacting to a bad night's sleep to my wife who loves me, who, whatever our interactions are today, we're going to be building on that all day long. And she's much too sweet to get grief from me this morning just because I'm in a foul mood. So we still get to choose. And that's what that verse is talking about. I wanted to share a verse with you that's along those same lines. It's Psalm 90, out of Psalm 90. And we're more or less hitting two verses, verses 2 and 4. It says this. I want you to think about this morning. Before the mountains were born. Wow. Or you, God, brought forth the whole world from everlasting to everlasting. You are God. And that's the first half, but it's worth meditating on. So before today, before last week, before 100 years ago, before Eden, before Adam and Eve, before God took man's head and put God's mouth on Adam's face and breathed life into him, before the mountains were born, it says. Or before you, God, brought forth the whole world, before any of it existed, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. 1,000 years in your sight, God, are like a day that has just gone by, or like a watch in the night. The time that it takes for a shadow to move from one side of a tree to another, right? Just one watch of the night. That's how 1,000 years are to you, God. So when I look at this day and I realize that God has ordained this day from before the beginning of time, he had this day and him spending it with you in mind. And yet 1,000 years is as fleeting as the moving of a shadow. It's a single watch in the night. Wow. That before the mountains were born, you are God, the same God who made this day and wants to walk with you in it. Before he made the mountains, he had a day planned to walk with you that has today's name on it. He knew your name and he was waiting for you to wake up this morning. Before God said, let there be light, and before he separated water from sky, before he separated land from sea, before he called all the beasts and swimming things and creepy crawly swarming things into existence, long before he made a garden and put Adam and Eve in it, even and it was overflowing with all kinds of abundance for them. He created all that they needed and put it in place before he created them and put them in it. And then he put his life in them to enjoy all of it. It was done in just the right order, in just the right time, right? They didn't show up and didn't have air to breathe. They didn't show up and didn't have food to eat. They didn't show up and were in danger from the other animals. He made a garden and he created the atmosphere and he caused the sun to shine and the moon and the stars and the gravity and the turning of the earth. He created all of that so he could make a garden, so that he could make man, so that he could breathe his life into him, so that man could enjoy everything that he needed, and all the things that God had ordained for us to need were already in place before we showed up. And when we showed up, it was from the indwelling life of God, delivered intimately to Adam, right? Breath to breath, face to face, breathed his life into him. And Adam received that as his defining reality. He became a living being, so intimate. So through the intimate process of forming Adam and breathing life into him, from God to Adam, Adam became a living being from the indwelling life and intimate interaction of God himself, and then walked intimately with God in the very provision that God had provided. Adam didn't know all that he needed. He just knew when he got hungry. And when he got hungry, God had already set up what Adam needed and already put his life into him for him to experience it from the place of intimacy with the Father. He just set him up to experience his love and his gift, his joy for him. He shaped man with his hands and he placed his mouth to man's face and he breathed his life into man. And before Adam awoke to see God looming face to face, breath to breath, right? He breathed into him and Adam's eyes opened and here's God. So intimate. Before God did that, and Adam's living and breathing within inches of him in Eden, long before the stars and the oceans and the animals and all of creation were scattered on the earth, God was already fondly the God who is God today. Right before the mountains were born, you are God. God was God for you for this day then. Before all of that, he was fondly thinking of you with him in intimate fellowship forever. That's what was on his mind before the mountains were born, because he made the mountains for a place for us. And he created the garden and all of the flowers and all of the animals and all of the skies. God was not looking for something shiny to look at. We are not his Christmas tree ornament on the earth. He has heaven. He's not thinking, the earth is so wonderful, I needed a prettier place to hang out. No, he has heaven. He's not lacking anything. He's not needing anything. He's not redefining beauty because he wants to do things better. He created the earth and all of its bounty for you and I as a context of experiencing intimacy with him before the mountains were born. God, you are God. He has made this day with you in mind from forever past. God knew today would come. He knew today would come. And before he said, let there be light, he was thinking, let there be Mike, and let there be Tabitha, and let there be Kat, and let there be Claudia, and let there be, Rob Feltz, and let there be Debbie. Before he said, let there be light, and then land and water and sky and sea, and a light to rule the day and a light to rule the night, and all of the teeming animals from the seas that become walking beasts of the field, and all of the birds of the air. And before all of that, that was all to create the context for our intimate fellowship in day one, and then our intimate fellowship of day two, and our intimate fellowship of day 5,348, and our intimate fellowship of today. You are no less set up for the intimate fellowship and provision of God today than Adam was before he took his first breath. When God said, let there be light, it was because he already knew he was going to say, let there be Eric, let there be Mike, let there be you. before he said, let there be light, he did it with you in mind. He wants to spend this day that he's had in mind from eternity past with you. He knew today would come. I put this on the screen for you guys, actually. He knew today would come. He knew that he would be with you today. He knew that he would bring you into intimate fellowship with him through Jesus Christ as you walked with him by his Spirit today. He knew today would come, and he's created today as the context of intimate fellowship with you. We talk often about us living in intimate fellowship with him, which we do. We get to choose. But listen, he didn't do it all because he wanted you to have that with him. He did it all because he wanted to have that with you. He wants intimate fellowship with you. He's excited about a day with you. And the temporal calamities of this world, me not feeling very well and having a little backache and my headache and my not sleeping very well because I was uncomfortable and all the things I have to get done today, all of the obstacles and stuff and arrangements that have to be made and things I have to prepare for. I am doing a podcast with my friend Steve Eden here in a couple of hours, and then I'm meeting with a group tonight, and then I'm teaching a group tomorrow night on Colossians, and then I'm preaching for a church this weekend on Sunday, and next weekend I'm going and leading a workshop at Network 220. There's just a lot. I'm reviewing content for our website, and I'm creating a new devotional for a Dad's Day devotional for Father's Day for next weekend that has to be done today. I've got a lot going on today, and I don't feel very great doing it. It does my heart so much good to know that all of that is the context in which God has designed from eternity past that I would walk in intimate fellowship and divine provision with him through each of these moments today. Isn't that wonderful? I get to choose to live in the joy of God for me. The joy of God for you. You get to live in the calamity of your circumstances, all of the chaos, right? The calamity of your chaos, or in the joy of a God who has waited from eternity past with today in mind with you. It's like the best date ever, right? He's been waiting thousands of years to hang out with you. More than that, so much from eternity past to hang out with you today. Today is on God's calendar. I get to hang out with Becky today. I get to hang out with Mitzi today. I get to hang out with Debbie and Claudia today. All of the stuff that has to be managed today is not your life. They're the context of enjoying and knowing and celebrating Christ as your life. He's the only life. Everything else is just the context in which we experience Christ as the content of our life. He's been looking forward to you today. So we get to enjoy him enjoying each of us uniquely today. He knew today would come. He knew that he would get to spend it with you. He's been thinking the God who is the I am was the I am from eternity past. That's what the psalmist is saying. Before the mountains were born, God, you are God. You were the I am then that you are. Now you had me in mind then to spend today with me now in the intimate fellowship and provision that you have for me to know you more, to grow up in your sufficiency and love and provision for me. And he's been looking forward to this. And I wrote this down, he is really, really excited to bring it about and share his breath by breath life with you right now. Not through the rest of this day when we get done, right now. You are breathing air that God intended for you to expel from the indwelling life of his presence, where the gravity of the earth is sucking you onto the chair that you are seated in. God is seated in you by virtue of his spirit through Jesus Christ in you right now. You inhale with him and you exhale with him. Jesus Christ's spirit is in you for intimate fellowship with God right now. The screen that you are looking at, he is looking through your eyes. The air that you are breathing, he is in you, breathing with you. This is God's moment of intimacy with you. And the next moment, and the next moment, the God who is God from before the mountains were born is God, the great, intimate I am within you right now. So let's enjoy him as he enjoys you today. He's been looking forward since before eternity past. I don't know if that's possible. And he will remember it joyfully with you. You and he will talk about this day for eternity future, because he is setting you up for his goodness, because it's all he's got for you, my friends. All God has for you is his goodness. That doesn't mean that everything that happens today is good. That means he loves you way too much. He will not let a single crisis not be reconciled for his goodness in your life. We experience it moment by moment, and he is planned for eternity past for us to experience him as life in it. And our Christ confident hope in him today, which will falter. And he's okay with that. He is not surprised or disappointed by anything you do today. Instead, this is the context of you growing with him that he has planned from eternity past. So let's enjoy him to whatever degree we each can, right? The faith that he has allowed us, that we've grown in up till now. Let's enjoy him enjoying us and our Christ confident hope of intimate fellowship with him today. You, my friend, were made for his joy, from his joy, and for his joy. You're made for his joy. He is awfully happy about you today with him. He's awfully happy about you today with him. It seems like it would be worthwhile for me to be mindful of that today. Right? He's been waiting from eternity past for me to enjoy intimate fellowship with him, enjoying me today. It seems like a good idea for me to set my focus on him today. You and this day are being brought together because you and this day were made for your joy in his joy of you in this day today. Here's a question of the day for you guys. What circumstances, obstacles, or celebrations, doesn't matter, what circumstances today will be different for you if or as you remember to enjoy God enjoying you in the fleeting moment, in this single watch, in this single shadow fall that you get to know him called today, in which you get to know him called today. Because tomorrow will become today tomorrow, and today will be gone, and today is the only day in which you get to know him. And if I'm living to overcome the obstacles, then when today becomes tomorrow, I've got a whole new set of obstacles to walk through, and I can miss out on the fullness and intimacy and fellowship and joy of God for me today. God is awfully happy with you today. So what might be different? There's some calamities in my day. There's some busyness in the day. Evidently, there's going to be some pain management today. But listen, that's all so fleeting. The intimate fellowship and growth of my knowing him more as my life today will last forever. We will talk about it forever together. Eternity future will be the story that we tell of eternity present in intimate fellowship with him. I hope that's an encouragement to you today. It's a worship Wednesday for me. This really is the day that the Lord has made for you and he to enjoy together. You enjoying him as he enjoys you. So let's go ahead and rejoice and be glad and know him and walk with him and celebrate him to the praise of the glory of his grace today. I sure love you guys. Be sure, if you've gotten this far, hit like, hit subscribe, share this with some folks so that they can be encouraged too. And let's know him more, grow in grace, go love each other like crazy so that we can come back together tomorrow for a brand new day together, right? That's the next level. We can come together, enjoy one another, enjoying him, enjoying us. Let's do it again tomorrow, shall we? Enjoy your coffee, enjoy your day, enjoy your God, enjoying you. That's rejoicing in him today. Love you guys. Talk to you then.